Back in Nebraska, the Legion State Tournament continues. Elkhorn North Equitable Bank hosts Lincoln East Carpetland in the winner's bracket. Scoreless through 3, and it's a pitcher's duel. Jack settles in and gets the batter swinging on the inning-ending strikeout. But Carpetland has a scoring opportunity in the 4th. Jake Jansen throwing the runner out at home here. Equitable Bank keeps this thing scoreless. It doesn't stay that way. Sam Sutgo finds green grass in shallow right center. 2 runs score on the 2 RBI single. Carpetland advances in the winner's bracket in a 3-0 win. Out in Kearney for the National Division, Kearney Pinnacle Bank post 52 hosts Papio's post 32. Papillion-La Vista came to play today. Bottom of the 2nd, Griffin Small is not playing small ball, sends one back to the warning track, makes it a 4-0 game. Later, Adrian Bodos goes the other direction on the RBI. This one not close out in Kearney. Papio Pinnacle Bank post 32 rolls to an 11-1 win to stay alive. Really fun with the Legion State Tournament in full swing. Really hot out there, so I'm glad all these games even made it today. Yeah. Tell you what, I was sweating shooting this one, and that was the 7 p.m. start, so I can't really imagine playing the earlier games today.
Yeah, I was gonna say I refuse to even take a walk this morning.
Stay in the station the whole day.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I sleep here.
There we go.
We have one more check of Caramelo's forecast when we come back.